Hey everyone, Alexa Simos here, licensed therapist, and you're watching Not So Scary Sundays, our Sunday breakdown of common issues that affect our mental health. Now, before we get started, if you could do me a favor and go ahead and hit that like button so YouTube knows we exist and that we're here every Sunday morning. This way, they'll push the content to more people and we can grow. For those of you who are subscribed, thank you so much for your continued support. Make sure your notifications are on so that you always get an alert every time we release something new. On today's show, we're talking about childhood bullying. Growing up watching TV, this could look like getting a wedgie or being stuffed into a locker. But these days, it might simply be done on social media. One study has even suggested that when it comes to mental health, bullying is as harmful as child abuse, if not worse. Approximately 20% of people who have been bullied experience some type of mental health problems later in life, even at the age of 50. While some of these, such as post-traumatic stress disorder, are easy to spot, others may be a little bit more difficult to recognize. These can range from inexplicable bouts of anger to a lifetime of feeling inferior to other people. Although there has been an immense amount of research on bullying, most of it has focused on the immediate effects and intervention and prevention. We need more research on long-term effects and new forms of bullying, such as online abuse. That said, severe long-term effects of bullying are relatively well documented. Research has shown that victims of bullying report more severe anxiety symptoms than others. Being bullied is also linked to social anxiety, which often lasts into adulthood and increases the risk of developing personality disorders. Depression is another negative consequence of bullying, which might lead to suicidal ideation and even suicide attempts. So if you are struggling with depression or anxiety and have a history of being bullied, there may be a link. One of the most severe consequences is post-traumatic stress disorder, or otherwise known as PTSD. Research has shown that 40.5% of girls and 27.6% of boys show PTSD symptoms at the time of being bullied. These individuals' torment can sometimes follow them into later life. This can be triggered by just remembering the bullying incident or by related stimuli, such as visiting their school as adults or by encountering their bully in a different environment. I know for me, I still cringe sometimes when I pass my junior high school thinking about the past stuff that has happened to me. Now, let's dive into trust and self-esteem. While people with severe depression, anxiety, or PTSD may actually seek help and uncover that bullying could have played a part in their mental health problems, for many other people, the signs are more subtle. Self-esteem is an aspect that is both a risk factor and a consequence of bullying. It is not hard to see that children who are suffering from repetitive bullying at school, at a time when they're still in the process of developing their personalities, could suffer a serious and lasting decline in self-esteem. On the other hand, high self-esteem has been linked to bullying others. However, this effect seems to be moderated by other factors. High self-esteem is only linked to high bullying rates in schools, which the students perceive to have a poor climate. Other distinctive examples is anger, which is a prerequisite of aggression and has been associated with both victimization and perpetration of bullying. For the bullies, it is well recognized that behind their abusive behavior lies the intention to hurt another individual, usually motivated by negative emotions such as aggression, anger, and hostility. But repeated bullying can also make victims more angry, which in turn maintains the cycle of bullying. The main difference between bullies and victims is that bullies exhibit higher levels of proactive aggression, basically behavior that anticipates a reward, whereas victims exhibit a higher level of reactive aggression, anger in a response to that threat. Bullying can also lead to health problems, such as alcohol and drug abuse, social withdrawal, and severe trust issues. For many victims who are trying to overcome the experience, the loss of trust is perhaps the most challenging consequence. But if nobody stands up for you at the time of being bullied, you begin to lose trust in your peers, and that may be for your life. Such relationships lead victims to experience not one, but multiple bullying effects during their victimization period and in their adulthood. Now, let's look at dealing with the past. When it comes to anger, various studies have indicated that restorative justice techniques, a mediation between the victim and the offender while promoting a discussion of forgiveness, could help. However, such practices can only benefit victims and bullies respectively if applied in a controlled environment, such as by a school or a trained member or staff. Some individuals take their own initiative to face their bully or victim in adulthood and either apologize for the past behavior or seek answers for their victimization. However, they must keep in mind that such an encounter might have the exact opposite results. Research shows that bullies often maintain an aggressive behavior in adulthood. Therapy or counseling are usually therefore much better ways to deal with the consequences. Perhaps the most important thing in order to get over traumatic bullying experiences is to stop blaming yourself. There have been numerous studies indicating that this is very common and a result of wrongfully developed perceptions. For example, it is well established that overweight children suffer higher levels of bullying than others. Such individuals may view their body mass or inability to stand up for themselves as the reason they were picked on. If we do not accept our individuality and stop self-blaming, it can be very hard to heal the wounds. Being bullied as a child in school, which is such a huge part of an individual's world, is clearly a traumatic experience. It should come as no surprise that it may leave lasting scars. Luckily, there is plenty of help out there, and even if we don't want to embark on getting therapy, just identifying negative thinking patterns and behavior that the bullying may have triggered can ultimately help you change them and move forward. Let's talk about how to heal. Acknowledge bullying in your past. Victims of bullying often spend years minimizing the bullying, dismissing it, or pretending it didn't even happen. Or they succumb to feelings of guilt, shame, or self-blame, believing if they had been different or tried harder, the bullying would not have happened. The only way to begin the healing process is to recognize that the bullying occurred and that you are not responsible for it. Prioritize your health and recovery. Victims of bullying often deal with a host of health issues, including anxiety issues, eating disorders, headaches, insomnia, and even PTSD or other stress conditions. Be sure to talk to your doctor about any symptoms you are experiencing. Remember, bullying affects more than just your mood and self-esteem. It can also have a serious impact on your health. Take the steps to take care of yourself. Reclaim control in adulthood. Feelings of powerlessness and helplessness can carry over into adulthood. As a result, you may run the risk of living your life as a perpetual victim. Realize that while you cannot control what happened, you can control your reaction. Start your recovery by taking control of your thoughts, emotions, and actions. It is also important to own your reactions and realize that you can choose to make healthy choices. You have a choice on how to live your life. Recognize your value and worth. Bullying often causes people to lose confidence and self-esteem because it is packed with lies about your worth as a person. Reject the lies that the bully said about you and replace them with the truth about who you are. Focus on learning how to be you again. To get started, write down your positive characteristics. This can be as, what are you good at? What are your strengths? What do people like about you? What do you do that you like about yourself? Focus on the positive things you have going on for you and reject the lies that the bullies fed you. Avoid isolating yourself. A big part of recovery from bullying is maintaining contact with supportive friends and family. Many times, victims of bullying isolate themselves and try to deal with the consequences of bullying on their own. If the bullying you experienced as a child keeps coming back and rearing its ugly head, consider talking with a counselor about your past. It also helps to talk with friends and family or find a support group in your area. The key is that you don't have to go throughout the healing process alone. It's great to have support along the way. Seek trauma support. Sometimes healing from a childhood trauma, like bullying, requires outside help and support. Talk to your family doctor and get recommendations for a counselor that specializes in healing from childhood traumas. A counselor will help you process and make sense of what happened to you. They will be able to point out any unhealthy coping mechanisms you are using, or anything else that may be a way to handle the bullying that you experienced. Focus on personal growth. Identify areas where you need to grow or heal. For instance, do you need to build your self-esteem or become more assertive? Likewise, you may also benefit from learning to set boundaries, taking a self-defense class, or by joining a health club. Make a list of the areas that you want to improve or change in your life. It is best to make this list on your own rather than asking for someone else's opinion. This way, you will own those changes that you need to make in your life. But if you're having trouble identifying your weaknesses, ask a close friend or family member and see what they have to say. Change your thought processes. Many times, people who are healing from childhood bullying ruminate about what they experienced or become obsessed with not experiencing that pain again. Learn ways to take your thoughts captive. Set goals and focus on things that make you happy or bring joy to your life. Avoid focusing all your time and energy on past pain and your current recovery. It's really not healthy to think about the pain and what you endured all the time. Set aside some specific times to deal with the issues, but don't allow them to consume you. All in all, guys, be patient with recovery. Childhood bullying can stay with you forever, and it's really not a quick process just to get rid of it like that. It's really important to take the time to really process what's happened so that you can grow as a person. And let me tell you, it's not easy. We've all been there. But know that you're not alone. That's it for today, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. See you next week.